My dad taught me empathy. Now, before we get started today, because I got a story that may be a little bit long, I want to go over a definition with you. Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the capacity to be aware of, control, and to express one's emotions and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. It's a lot of words in there that means a lot. I may do an episode specifically on that, but I needed to get that out the way before I told the story. When I graduated college, I started coaching Little League football with my pops. Now, this has been a dream of mine since I was a little kid. When I was born, my dad started coaching for the Mustangs in 1978. I was born in 1988. So he had 10 years in the game before I was even born. When I was born right into that system. I grew up seeing it. So when I graduated college, he was coaching again, and I wanted the opportunity to coach. So he allowed me to join the staff. Now, I got a chance to work on the staff with the majority of my old coaches, the coaches I looked up to, like Coach Jones and Coach Lobo. When I'm coaching with them, I took a liking to a couple players real quick. These are real people going through real things right now, so I'm going to try to leave their names out of it. But they know who they are. One of them was this tall kid. He was about 5'10", when I'm 5'10", for instance, and he's in 6th grade, same height as me. And another one was this extremely short kid. He was probably like 4 or 5. Like the height difference was crazy. But the crazy thing about both of them, the heart, same size. Both of them had the heart of the baddest on the planet. Like, you know what I mean. The way I like to explain it to people is that I could tell those two young men to go get anybody on this planet, and their response would be, yes, sir, and try their best to make it happen. Like, that's the type of heart that they had. It was unbelievable. So I built this relationship with the taller one. He lived down the street from me. And when I would see him, I would scoop him up in my car, take him around wherever I'm going. I would pick him up for practice, take him back home to practice. Pick him up for the games, take him home from the games. And this would be a consistent thing that I would do all the time. The particular issue with this young man is, first of all, he didn't come from very much money. When I tell you that he will show up to practice in some old tennis shoes that got passed down to him, we playing on grass. He's showing up to practice in old tennis shoes. It wasn't bought for him. They were passed down to him. And we're practicing on wet grass. So you know he's sliding all over the place. But the thing that made him stand out is that he was giving everything he had, sliding all over the place, fighting and scrapping, trying to make sure that he's executing these drills correctly. Like, that was extremely impressive for me. So I got him cleats. I'm a college graduate starting to work, so I just used the resources that I had. I didn't have a family at the time, so I had extra resources to look out for him. Long story short, the issue is that we like 2 months in. We playing games now, and we practicing every week. I have never seen his parents, ever, to this day. This was like in 2011. I've never seen his parents before. He had a mom and a dad. Both his mom and dad had a car. I know both of the cars worked because when I would pull up to his driveway, the cars would be in different positions in the yard. So I know the cars worked. They never came to a practice, never came to a game. Strange. So we go to practice one day. I pick him up in the car. Everything seemed normal. We go to practice. We start working on the drills. He fighting his teammates in every single drill we doing. I mean, like, every single time it's his time to go up against one of his teammates, regardless of what we doing, he gets into a fight with one of his teammates. And I'm sitting here looking at him in disgust. I'm like, since you gonna fight your teammates every time, you stand over here and watch us practice, and we're gonna go over here and we're gonna get better. What I was doing at that particular time, I was like 22, 23, somewhere around there. I was projecting what I thought a good coach was and what a good coach was supposed to do. This is the brilliance of my father. When he heard me say that to that young man and set him aside and made him watch practice, my dad pulled me over. He said, "Come here." He put his arm around me. He was talking low so only I could hear him. And he asked me a question that changed my life. He asked me, "Does he normally act like that?" And I started thinking, I was like, of course not. I told you, like, he was a great teammate, great kid, always full of energy. Like, I never had any problems out of him until that moment. So I told him, "No, sir." And my dad said, "Go find out why." That moment, that interaction I had with my father changed my life forever, changed my viewpoint, changed everything. My father identified something that he had seen thousands of times probably. But at that point in my life, I've never paid attention to it. He noticed the kids' behavior change. I noticed it too. I just wasn't wise enough to put 2 and 2 together and equal 4. But my father could see it. And he gave me that opportunity for me to learn on the job. What happened after this broke my heart. I pulled the kid aside and I asked him, I was like, "What's wrong with you? You fight your teammates. You don't normally act like that. What's going on?" The kid tells me how most people say, "Ain't nothing wrong, I'm fine." And I looked him in the eye, I said, "Stop lying to me. You don't normally act like this. We can't get a full drill going through before you fighting one of your teammates again. What is going on?" And the kid gets silent and I see tears start to well up in his eyes. And he tells me he just found out that morning the police found his sister. He had a 16-year-old sister, never knew it. They found his sister an hour and a half away in Center, Texas. Center, Texas is like an hour and a half away from Longview. In a house full of 6 grown men. So when I met this young man, his sister was kidnapped. So the whole time that he was putting a smile on his face, having good spirits, there was him wearing a mask. Had no idea. Had no idea he had a sister. He said they found her. And when he was explaining to me all the things that he was felt and all the anger that he felt, it made me start crying in front of him because I had no frame of reference to give him, no wisdom to give him to help him through that moment. And the only thing I knew how to do, I told my dad I was going to take him, and we left practice, went, ate dinner together, and I was just doing whatever I could in that particular moment to be supportive to him, but I didn't know what to tell him or to coach him through how to deal with that situation. It never even popped in my mind that a kid would have to be going through something like that. And this is the crazy part. Literally at that moment, I found out that CPS took him from his household and made him stay with his grandmother. I'm like, all right, cool. I go to the grandmother's house to pick him up, find out the CPS took all of his cousins too. So he played on the team with 5 of his cousins. The smaller guy that I was mentioning to you earlier was one of his cousins. And then it was 4 more after that. All of them were staying with the grandmother. So this is 6 young men between 6th and 5th grade living in one house with an older lady. I pull into the driveway to pick him up so we can go to practice. Before I can park my car, this dude comes walking out of the house towards my car. As soon as I stop, he knocked on the window. It's told me that grandmother needs to speak with you. And in my head, I'm like, finally, somebody cares enough about these kids to see who is it finna pick them up. Because the whole time I was picking up the other young man, not once did his parents ever come out to see who is this with my son. Like, I could have been one of the worst people on the planet. So I go in the house and talk to the grandmother. And the grandmother sitting, the door is over here. This is where I'm standing. The grandmother is sitting this way, looking forward the whole time. And she's talking to me. She asked me who I am, who are my people, what are my intentions with her grandbabies, like all the right questions that somebody who love their grandbabies would say. But the whole time she's looking straight ahead. She's never looking at me to acknowledge me standing there to even see who I am. She's looking straight ahead. And I realized this lady probably can't see. So I stepped around and I peeked and I seen her eyes. Her eyes were like glossed over. And in my head, I understand, at that particular time, I understand a little bit about health. I'm like, oh, she probably is blind due to diabetes. And then she's blind due to diabetes. It triggered my mind to look down. I looked down, this lady didn't have any feet. Hear me out. CPS took all these young men from their households and made them stay with their grandmother, who has already shown she is better fit to watch these kids and to raise these kids. And she is blind and had no feet. These 6 young men were better fit to be raised from a blind older lady who had no feet. I don't know if a lot of y'all picking up what I'm putting down. Let me make it plain for you. My mother and father took great care of me. This show is called What My Dad Taught Me. So I'm talking to you about the impact. I don't speak much about my mother because this show is dedicated to fathers and show that there are strong, powerful, impactful fathers on this earth. But my mom was just as strong and as impactful in my life. So I had a strong, impactful, loving mother, strong, impactful, loving father. And I go to school and I go out here in the community and people will look at me and say, that's a well-behaved, well-adjusted, powerful, intelligent young man. And then those 6 young boys who are in the circumstances that they are, growing up in poverty, growing up with people who may or may not love them correctly or love them the way they deserve to be loved. And I'm 12 years old, they're 12 years old. They are going to school with lack. I'm going to school with abundance. People are going to see the way they behave and say, they're wrong, they need to learn how to act like me. When they didn't come to school with the same thing I came to school with. I've never had to want for anything. Well, I ain't gonna say want. I never needed anything I didn't get. I had food whenever I needed food. I had the clothes and supplies wherever I needed the clothes or supplies. Both of my parents graduated from an HBCU. My dad worked at an HBCU. My mom was a basketball coach at the high school and taught math, health, and PE. Those young men didn't get that. However, the expectation of them in the same situations I'm in are the same. Behave properly. How do they behave properly when they don't know if they're going to be safe when they go home, if they're going to eat when they go home, any of that. But we sit here and look at these kids all the time and we just throw stones at them. And it broke my heart because I did everything I knew in my power at that time to support and love those kids.